Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation, and our podcast.
Today we are covering the DC animated show, Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
We finally watched it, guys.
Yes.
And the series takes many characters and storylines from the Silver Age comics and creates brand new stories featuring them. Now, while it's a more fun, comedic take on Batman, it still has the hard-hitting action and even darker episodes that you know from Batman. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and get us a future podcast and all the pause videos.
And thank you so much for joining us today, subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting, everything you do specials. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. So, this one took us the longest to get to. We had seen pretty much every Batman series out there. Brave and the Bold was the hardest for us to get because at one point it used to be on Netflix when you could watch DC stuff on there. That's how far back it was. And after, the whole streaming thing and everyone wanted their own stuff, we could not see Brave and the Bold for the longest time.
Right.
We finished all the other shows, even Beware the Batman, which was in, but we finally got to see Brave and the Bold after hearing how great it was.
I didn't expect to like it, especially when they said comedic. I thought it was just going to be silly. And then when I heard Dietrich Bader was Batman, I wasn't too ecstatic. I know him from my uncle introducing me to the Drew Carey show. And just as a comedian, and I didn't think it was going to be good, and I didn't think he was going to be good. And I'm very, very happy to say I was wrong on both counts. Would I say he's my favorite VA for animated Batman? No. But he's definitely way better than some others we've heard, and he did a great job in the context of which his Batman was supposed to be. So I'm really happy we enjoyed it.
Yes. So this show, I think, has 3 seasons within it. And each one you kind of get introduced to either an existing character in DC that's from their Silver Age where they have their respective costumes on, or you get a new character from the Silver Age and there's a storyline centered around them.
So for those of you not familiar with Batman, the Brave and the Bold, it's an American animated TV series based in part on the DC Comics series The Brave and the Bold, which features 2 or more superheroes coming together to solve a crime or foil a supervillain and villain. And as the title suggests, the series focuses on Batman's regular, as you mentioned, team-ups with various heroes similar to the most well-known version of the original comic book series. It originally aired from November 14th of 2008 on Cartoon Network in the U.S. and ended November 18th of 2011. It also aired in Canada on Teletoon. And then it was followed by a comic book continuation, which actually ended in 2014, and then a full-length feature film called Scooby-Doo and Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which aired in 2018.
Which we've seen with the DVD rental.
Yes.
So, we definitely will get to this when we get near the end of our podcast. Most of these shows, they're either doing well or they end up changing. It unfortunately got canceled. And when we get to the end of the podcast, we're going to have to tell you how this paved the way to Beware the Batman in a way we didn't expect.
Bad decision on their part.
Oh boy.
Especially the last season, they just kind of fizzed out after giving you some great seasons.
Right.
So it was developed by James Tucker and Michael Jelinek. You've heard his name before. Directed by Michael Chang, Michael Gauguin, Heather A. Maxwell, Brendan Vietti, and Andrea Romano, who's also the voice director.
Right.
We'll get to the voice cast later. The theme music was all original, written by Andy Sturmer. He did a great job. And composed by Christopher Carter, Michael McQuiston, and Lolita Ritmanis. As you mentioned, there were 3 seasons with a total of 65 episodes.
Wow, quite a lot.
Running 26 minutes, and each episode had like a preview.
Or like a teaser or something at the beginning.
And then the remainder would be the episode itself.
Right. And sometimes that's where some of those characters would come in. They'll just be for a little teaser, and then that's not the episode. However, they did change the formula a little later when they were foreshadowing an arc with a Starro invasion, which was actually pretty clever to have it lead up between episodes so you knew what was happening in the background of whatever episode you were watching.
Yeah.
And when you watch it, you also get a little bit of inspiration from Teen Titans at the time, because a lot of the style and the humor seemed a little reminiscent of that. Some of the villains that were more ridiculous, Teen Titans ended up having in its final seasons. And we had mentioned in a separate podcast that ended up inspiring the Young Justice series that came a few years later. And they did kind of have a Titans thing in here, but it didn't get focused. I guess the Sidekicks Assemble was the closest you got to a Titans team up. But for the most part, they really just focus on Batman himself, and then, as you said, the Silver Age characters he comes across. And this is what they were also replicating with Justice League Action, where Batman's constantly teaming with every single hero. Unfortunately, that show didn't use it as well as this show.
And also, if you've seen our podcast, Sidekicks was the inspiration or the blueprint for the Young Justice series.
Yes.
So it really branched out into other things within the comic world and the animated world.
Yes.
And we didn't expect either of that. So, wanted to mention that the creators said that the characters have an appearance and feel akin to both Golden and Silver Age incarnations of the heroes and the villains. And while the show had featured major heroes like Green Lantern, Flash, as we're all familiar with, it really focused on lesser known individuals that portrayed the heroes.
Yes.
Like Guy Gardner, who now is not lesser known. He's well known.
Yes.
Same with Jay Garrick. But when this came out, they were lesser known.
Yeah, that is true. It's hard to believe now.
And then also Batman's alter ego Bruce Wayne does not appear as an adult during the series, where he's unmasked and his face is kept hidden until season 2, Chill of the Night episode, where he finally confronts Joe Chill.
Yes.
That was a very dark episode.
Yes, and it hit more because up until then they had been doing lots of comedic episodes or action-oriented episodes, or even the pulpy type camp like 66, which they do an homage to a lot of times. But Chill of the Night was one of the few episodes in the series where it took a premise very seriously. And normally with this version of Batman, what kind of was supposed to be part of the comedy is that no matter how ridiculous the scenarios were, or the characters were, or the powers were, Batman took everything seriously, like this was a very important mission. You kind of couldn't help but laugh. But with this episode, it wasn't just a campy, run-of-the-mill type thing. He was facing his parents' killer and actually hunting him down. So it was one of the very few episodes where it was not a joke in the slightest, and I think that's what made it stand out amongst the rest.
Very true. Wanted to mention this is the first series that Warner Brothers released of Batman in high definition. You can tell when you look at it. Also, there's a standout opening. It's absolutely memorable and different from every other series. I would say this is as memorable as 66, where when you hear the music, you know it. And then not only is the music memorable, there are no lyrics, it's just instrumental, but the images are also fantastic. It's great. And I looked forward to seeing it every single time we watched it. So the first season for us, the first season was the best. It was a standout. It was different, unexpectedly enjoyable. And as we mentioned, you got to see so many Silver Age and Golden Age heroes and villains that we weren't familiar with.
Exactly. And if you're wondering, well, where's the main Justice League characters like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Flash?
They come later.
Yeah, much later. In fact, they probably don't even come in until maybe season 3 for most of them. I think Flash got the second season, but the third season is when the actual bigger characters that you knew came in. As you said, it was more focused on the lesser knowns at the time, because even when they were forming Justice League, it was none of the characters that you knew from the roster from previous cartoons. They had ones like Blue Beetle and Aquaman, Booster Gold,
and the original
Fire
Blue
and Ice.
Beetle, the original, not the one we know played by Zola Madureina, or the one from Young Justice. This was the original 40s Blue Beetle.
And you got a couple episodes focused on him, especially in flashbacks when they let you know the character had passed, and you even had to have episodes of flashbacks and time travel to when he was still alive.
There were so many voice actors that appeared on here. I mean, not only VAs, but major stars that did VA roles. And we will try to touch on some of them when we talk about the cast and some of the characters, but there are way too many to even mention to you in this podcast without it just going on and probably becoming lengthy for you to hear. But we can say they went all out in getting people that they thought would fit the characters. There were a few, very few we thought didn't work.
Yeah.
But I would say 95% of the ones that were chosen for the characters, they absolutely worked.
Yeah.
And there were lots of characters that I wasn't familiar with. Rascal probably was familiar with more than me. That I ended up liking or disliking. And it seemed to go straight down the middle. Either you liked them or you didn't. There was no in the middle like, they were okay. No. Yeah. You liked them or you didn't.
Right.
And you didn't have much violence until season 3.
Exactly.
Season 1 and season 2 was more adventure and action than anything else.
Yes, exactly. And I think they wanted to get a lot of their ideas they had out for action into darker episodes in the final season. Like, there was another one that was pretty dark where they had the original Doom Patrol. Beast Boy's not in it. It's really the original version before they added him in. It doesn't go like the way you think it is, where they save the day. Well, they do, but when they're put an ultimatum of where would they save themselves from being blown up, or would they save other people and let themselves be blown up so everyone else would be spared? And in a turn of events, they actually do choose to sacrifice themselves. And you think, okay, well, Batman will save them before it happens. No, he thinks he did it, but the villain outsmarted Batman, which is a rarity, and he succeeds in taking out Doom Patrol. Even if they were gone, people still didn't turn on them because they broadcasted that they would sacrifice themselves to save the people they were protecting, so they refused to turn on them. So it was like, even in posthumous, they still won.
Right.
Still was a deep episode, but it was pretty dark. And it seemed like that was one of the darkest episodes, when a character or characters actually died within it.
And you weren't expecting that. You really were not expecting that.
No, not really.
You had some lighthearted episodes that did work and that made for fun, and a lot of lighthearted teasers. And you especially had lighthearted teasers usually for something that was dark.
Yeah, like they were giving you the funniest one possible for it.
Now, one standout is you've seen us use 3 superheroines that sing and dance in one of our videos we had for reaching one of our milestones.
Yes.
And this was a series where it actually came from.
Yes, but the Birds of Prey.
Yes.
And what was funny is that we found out that it was supposed to be Matches Malone, I think was the name of the episode. And that episode was actually banned because the song sequence was considered too sexual to put on TV. And they removed it from airing after a while. We got to see it because it was on Tubi, so you just skip it if you want.
Right.
And we're like, well, this was the worst it was back then. It's like, it's 10 times worse now.
Yeah.
So it was actually fun to hear the original song itself, because we had only seen the visuals.
And you had in here where Batman took on the persona of a villain.
Yeah.
And it actually affected him where he forgot who he was.
Yes.
And he really thought he was the mobster.
Yes.
And then the 3 Huntress and Black Canary.
Yes.
And who was the third one?
And Catwoman.
Yes, they had to work together even though they didn't like each other. And all of them were vying for Batman's affections,
Which
of
I
course.
think was funny.
But they had to work together to get him back, because he had started doing darker things because he really believed he was this villain he was supposed to be only portraying.
Yes.
Something went wrong.
Right.
So that was another standout episode.
Yes.
And again, season 1 is the best. Season 2 was good, but you could see where it started to have more episodes about things that kind of weren't really superhero based.
Yeah.
They were more like slice of life, and they were...
Yeah. Like when the episode's focusing on Aquaman, unfortunately, it was like...
supposed to be only portraying.
Yes.
Something went wrong.
Right.
So that was another standout episode.
Yes.
And again, season 1 is the best. Season 2 was good, but you could see where it started to have more episodes about things that kind of weren't really superhero based.
Yeah.
They were more like slice of life, and they were...
Yeah. Like when the episode's focusing on Aquaman, unfortunately, it was like... he can't hold up an episode on his own. They kept making the whole parody that he was a super swell guy who loved his people and loved his family, just wanted to be a do-gooder, and they really were amming that up like so much it was starting to get a little annoying.
And then you had season 3, which is the season they were announced the cancellation, I should say, was announced, and it only had, I think, 18 episodes that
13.
13, yeah. Thank you, 13. And except for the episodes where the Justice League appeared, the rest of them just weren't good.
Not really.
And you could tell, okay, this is either they quit caring or this is why they got canceled. And the first time we had Superman appear in the series, not until the third season after they were already announced cancellation.
Exactly. And I do remember some of the writers actually ended up leaving after the first 2 seasons because, as you said, it got canceled. So when they got some newer people that hadn't been writing, they wrote very differently from the other ones. It seemed like, as you said, their formula was different because perhaps they weren't as well versed in the knowledge of those comics, and they were just trying to make up a story featuring the characters.
Yeah, and you could tell it just wasn't as good. You enjoyed the ones with the Justice League characters. The teaser was Justice League, and then so was the main episode. Yes. That was great. Those, was it 1 or 2?
I think there were. Yeah, it was 1 episode.
Okay.
You were right.
That was the best episode of season 3.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, and we're like, why'd you take so long? And then you get to the final episode that really just hands down told you they were canceled.
Yes.
And what they decided to do because of the cancellation, how they didn't care about this show anymore. And it just really got frank and blunt. And it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Because it's like, okay, we're just going to tell you everything this episode about what happened behind the scenes and about Beware the Batman, and we don't care about this series anymore, so let's just go ahead and crap on the season.
Yeah, and it felt like they were reflecting how some were feeling at the time, being rushed to finish and not tell stories they wanted to, and probably how the network was feeling, because it wasn't controversy, but this is how they felt at the time, because they can't get anything right. Even though the show was doing well, people at, I think, Warner Brothers or Cartoon Network, whoever was running it, felt that the show was a little too comedic and was going away from what Batman was known for, being a darker, brooding character of lots of action. Even though they had darker episodes where Batman was hunting his parents' killer and the Doom Patrol being gone and having him have astral projections and solving a murder in the 1800s with Sherlock Holmes and Etrigan. They were having dark episodes, but to the network, it wasn't dark enough, and they thought it would be seen as a joke. So they canceled this so they could go back to the darker stuff with Beware the Batman. And it's like, oh gosh.
And that was just a bad move. You can watch our podcast on Beware the Batman to find out why we just didn't like it.
Right.
So in this episode, they told you that Beware the Batman was coming.
Yes.
And they told you exactly what the series was supposed to be.
Yes.
And then it made sense why Beware the Batman was not a Batman series.
Yes.
It was a Katana series.
Yes.
And it wasn't even supposed to be her in charge.
It was Batgirl.
Right. And then they switched it to Katana and made Katana his goddaughter. And it just didn't work. But they told you what was coming.
Exactly. And it was hosted by Batmite. And he's just the... like if you've seen Larry on Teen Titans or a mix of Puddleick for Superman, that's the equivalent for Batman. I think every character kind of has their own. And what he used to do throughout the season was he always broke the fourth wall. He told me he was on a TV show. He loved reading the comics. He loved watching the show. He would be very upfront about how this show was meant to be different, but action-packed, comedic, and everything. Batman, of course, was annoyed with him. And he came up several episodes. Sometimes he was fun and useful. Sometimes he was just like, you want him gone.
Yeah.
But with this final one, Batman was kind of reflecting how they were feeling at the time. It's like, well, the show's we want the show gone. Let's do all the stuff that pisses people off when they get to near the end of a series, so they would get canceled faster. And a very obscure character came in to try to stop him because he was wrecking everything that was making the show good, but putting all the stuff people hate they do and making changes that weren't necessary. And once he accepted that the show was gone, he reverted everyone back to what they were, and he faded from existence. And he left people with the teaser, as you mentioned, for Beware the Batman. They didn't call it that, but the CGI style matched it, and it was a Batgirl series also starring Batman. And it was and then you watch Beware the Batman, you're like, oh gosh, they were telling you this is what you're gonna get now. Goodbye to Batman. You're getting a Batman show, not about Batman, and
Right.
it became exactly what they told everybody.
And it definitely was not about Batman.
Yeah.
And to me, it was not. It was interesting. That's how they chose to end it. And a lot of the dialogue was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, the choice words, yeah.
And I don't know if that's something I personally would have done if it were my show. It's
I don't
kind of
know.
like they were sticking to the people that canceled it, but they
Maybe.
weren't. They were sticking it to the audience, because you're sitting there like, what is this? Why?
It was a little too
Cold and harsh.
It was a little too much. Yeah, you're right.
So, I want to talk about the principal cast and some of the special guests. Like I said, there's a lot of them. So, as I read off some of them, I'm going to have Rascal interject with some things that are remembered.
Yeah.
And then we'll get through as many as possible listing,
Yeah,
but
there's a
there's
lot.
way too many. I'll just point out the ones that stuck out for us.
Right, especially one more episode that we both loved.
Okay, so the principal cast was Diedrich Bader.
Yes.
He voiced Batman, Bruce Wayne, Matches Malone, Kilowog Ace, Owlman, Solomon Grundy, Punch, Gorilla Boss, Damian Wayne Batman,
Yes.
Lord Deathman,
Yes, Damian's in
and
here.
Musketeer.
Yes, and there's a character called Musketeer for real.
Jeff Bennett voiced Joker, Red Hood, Captain Marvel, Abracadabra, Old Mock, Batman's singing voice, Rubberneck,
Well, that's
Joker
fun.
Mike, Ruben, Penguin, Scooby-Doo version, Prez, El Gaucho, Ultra Human Knight, and Starman.
A lot of villains in here, plus an episode where they went to different animation styles for Batman, which it didn't work.
No. Corey Burton voiced Red Tornado, Dr. Midnight, Thomas Wayne, Will Magnus, Mercury, Silver Cyclone, Falseface, Chancellor Gorzon, General Zod, Killer Moth, Batman, Batmanga version, Joker, Scooby-Doo version, Green Lantern, Alan Scott. As you can see,
Yeah,
they were
lots.
hired to do. I hope they got paid a lot.
Right.
Joe DiMaggio voiced Aquaman, Gorilla Grodd, Faceless Hunter, Black Mask, Tiger Soldier, Typhon. Enemy Ace, Ubu, Black Adam, Tattoo, Pharaoh, Toyman, Vigilante, Hellgramite, Mr. Freeze, Legionnaire, Captain Boomerang, and Owen.
Oh yeah, again, lots of villains in here.
Now they have Wilfredo and didn't take advantage of him. He only
You're right.
voiced Blue Beetle, Jamie Reyes, Scarlet Scarab, and Lazy Eye. Go
yeah,
figure.
out of all the characters, he did 3. It kept being a running joke that he seems to keep teaming up with Batman.
Right. They had Rascal's favorite Tom Kenny, voicing
Tom
Plastic
Kenny.
Man, Babyface, Ray, Deadshot, Mirror Master, Amazing Man. And last but not least, for the main cast, James Arnold Taylor. He voiced Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Blue Bowman, Major Disaster, Wotan, Nabu, Mark Desmond, Argus, Leslie Rocky Davis, Alfred Red, G.I. Robot, and Jace.
Yes, original G.I. Robot too.
So a lot of these were done by these main cast individual voice actors.
Right.
And there still were a ton of special guest
Yes.
stars that appeared.
Yes.
So let's talk about the episode, and then we'll go through the special guest cast,
Right.
pointing out some of our favorites.
Right. So one episode ended up being a surprise for Mama. And they had an episode, I guess that was supposed to be like a July 4th theme episode. And they introduced Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters.
And I loved it.
Yes.
It was so
It is.
campy and tongue-in-cheek, and he was so American.
And
He was
patriotic.
so patriotic, and he was so superhero that I couldn't help but love
Yes.
that version of the character.
And I kept telling you, will never see this character again because he was so overly patriotic it hurt.
And he was so overly patriotic, but it gave him superpowers.
Yes, singing Yankee Doodle Dandy or the American anthem was what gave him his strength back, was patriotism. Are you a patriot, sir? And it's all the time.
And then we thought about Dexter and what's the name of the superheroes on there?
With Major Glory,
Yes.
yes, and they had Uncle Sam on there, yes.
And we're like, okay, we get it. It was fun. It was a fun episode. Again, so tongue-in-cheek, so fun. And you miss this in the animated series we get now, whether they're Western or Eastern with anime. You don't get this type of fun or tongue-in-cheekiness
Right.
or even campiness or just silliness. You don't get it. Everything's dire and major.
Yeah.
Everything's full of unaliving people and
Too much
tragedy
dark,
and
yeah.
disaster and constantly fighting and always altercations and
Yeah.
confrontations.
And it's always
and
framed like if you don't like this stuff, well, you can't handle action, you can't handle anything bigger and harsher. It's
we
you
like
can't.
action and adventure.
Yeah,
We don't like
exactly.
mayhem and unaliving. We
I
don't
know
care
some
for
do,
that.
but that's just not for us.
And that's fine if that's for you. But I want to see things that are more like this
Yeah.
in terms of getting action and adventure and superheroing. That's what I want to
Exactly.
see. I don't want to see superheroes constantly in battle being abused and pummeled and beaten till the brink of death and all that. I don't want that.
Right.
I want action, adventure, and superheroes.
Right.
But that was a fun episode
Yes,
indeed.
for sure.
So special guest cast. I'm going to mention the ones that stuck out for us.
Okay.
You had Xander Berkeley as Sinestro,
Mm-hmm.
Clancy Brown
Yes.
as Per Degaton and Rotul, Gabrielle Carteris from 90210, which I couldn't believe, as Vicky Vale and Princess Laughlin.
Yes.
You had Jeffrey Combs as Kite Man,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Conroy as Batman of Zur-En-Arr,
Yes, the Super Batman.
and Phantom Stranger, Tim Conway as Weeper,
Yes.
Michael Dorn as Bane,
Yes.
and Kroll the Eternal. Then you had anime VA Greg Ellis as Gentleman Ghost, Dr. Fate, Cavalier, Dr. Canis, Hawk, Shrapnel, Signalman, Mr. Mind, and Big-Headed Batman.
Yes.
Oded Fair from The Mummy as Equinox, Mark Hamill as Spectre, and that's the only time he appeared, guys.
Yeah,
believe it or
which
not.
is strange.
You had a 50s actress from The Birds, Tippi Hedren, as Hippolyta.
Yes.
That surprised me, but I have to remember when this took place.
Right.
You had William Catt, who played the greatest American hero in the 80s, as
Yes.
Hawkman.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
You had Matthew Little as Shaggy Rogers.
Oh, yes, the Scooby-Doo appeared in the episode.
Ted McGinley from Married with Children as Aquaman 2.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Morris as Jonah Hex and Fox.
Real Jonah Hex.
Lorraine Newman as Miss Minerva. Ron Perlman as Dr. Double X.
Yes, which was funny.
Paul Rubens was Batmite. That was a
Yes.
big surprise.
Yes, good choice.
Michael Rosenbaum as Dead Man, not Flash.
Right.
And Henry Rollins as Robot Man.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Root from King of the Hill as Penguin, Woozy Winks, Planet
That's an
Master,
interesting choice.
and Killer Croc.
Right. And you know the biggest one of all? Yes,
Okay.
get to it.
We had John Wesley Shipp, the original Flash from the 70s live action, as Professor Zoom.
Yes, which was hilarious.
J.K. Simmons as Kyle Ace Morgan, Guardian of the Universe #1 and Evil Star.
Mhm.
Cree Summer only appeared as Vixen.
Yeah.
Which
for
we
2
couldn't
episodes.
believe.
That was it.
Tony Todd as Astaroth. Adam
Yes.
West.
Yes, Adam West. And he was in a couple episodes. One where he was
Thomas Wayne in Chill of the Night.
right, and then one where he was the
Autobot.
Bat. Yes, and it was so funny because we kept thinking, is this Jeff Bennett doing the impersonation? Like,
And
no,
I said, no, that's Adam West.
yes.
They had Will Wheaton as Blue Beetle, Ted Cord,
Mhm.
Michael J. White, known for the live action Spawn, as
Mhm.
Tattooed Man, Tyler James Williams as Jason Rouge Firestorm, Henry Winkler as Ambush Bug.
Yes, and that was the one at the end trying to stop Batman.
Yeah, and Weird Al Yankovic as himself and Mr. Star. There were lots of additional voices, including D. Bradley Baker,
Yes.
Brian Bloom, Steve Blum, Kathy Cavadini, Gray Delisle, Robin Atkin Downs,
Mhm.
Nika Futterman, Zachary Gordon
Yes.
from
Steven Universe.
as young Bruce Wayne and young Aqualad.
That was pretty surprising before the show even came on.
Yes, Jennifer Hale. You had Yuri Lowenthal as Mr. Miracle, Prince Tufton and Bullet Man, Tress McNeil, Scott Menville as Metamorpho, Richard McGonigal, who did 5 voices.
Yes.
You had
It's just a cavalcade of
Peter
stars.
Renedy as Uncle Sam and Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, he was the president.
And Kevin Michael Richardson, we have to list. He did Black Manta, Buona Beast, Steppenwolf, Detective Chimp, Lex Luthor, Despero, Blockbuster, Monsieur Mala, Starro in the Siege of Starro Part 1, Telltale, Barack Obama, and Mr. Mesopletic.
Yes.
Mr. Mesopletic.
Politic,
Thank you. I think I said
yeah.
it right. Bumper Robertson, Roger Rose, Jeremy Shada
It
as
just
the young
keeps
Dick
going.
Grayson, Zach Shada as Aqualad. You had Gary Anthony Sturgis, Tara Strong, Frank Walker as Bat Boy, Fred Jones, Scooby-Doo, Batman Scooby-Doo version, Hendon Walsh, Billy West, Mae Whitman, and Keone Young. And those are only the ones we mentioned.
Yeah, that's still not all of them. There were so many stars in here. And this would be a best case of using guest stars and comic book stars correctly when doing the voices. This is how you pay homage. Not just throw them in there because they're recognizable. They played a role, they fit it well, and we love it.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned, in 2009 of January, the first issue of Batman the Brave and the Bold was released. The comic book follows the same format as the show, starting off with a brief teaser segment at the start of the book, and then goes with a team up after that. Mm-hmm. You had certain characters such as Superman, Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel Jr., and Mary Marvel appear, and you had it began selling in the UK March 11 of 2010. It was published by Titan Magazines. Then in late 2010, it was relaunched as the all-new Batman, The Brave and the Bold, with a new creative team of Shally Fish and Rich Burchett, and they devoted more pages to the actual story. There was a crossover in 2018. An animated direct-to-video film, Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold, was released. And yes, and it features most of the cast reprising the roles from the series. Batman recruits Scooby-Doo and his friends to take on a threat posed by the villains of Batman. And then, in 2017, the Batman the Brave and the Bold incarnation appears in the Academy of Teen Titans Go via archival footage. There was a video game based on the show released in September 2010 on the Wii and Nintendo DS. In 2010, they also launched a Unity 3D Batman the Brave and Bold game to play for free online. And he also appears as a playable character in Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, which you own. Yes. Batman's appearance from the series was also used as a playable skin in Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Yes. And last but not least, there was a 2-disc compilation soundtrack of music from the series in 2014, featuring musical scores for 12 episodes from the first and second seasons, including Legends of the Dark Knight, The Mask of Matches Malone, and Chill of the Night. Yes. It's a limited edition release of 2,000 units and was purchased at the La La Land Records website. Wow. Then in 2024, it got more traction where people started talking about it. Yes. Which is how we became more aware of his existence. And then it got put on Tubi. Yes. And we watched the entire series on there. That's how we ended up to see it. Yes. Yeah. So this was a great journey. It was fun. I'm so happy that I ended up liking it because I didn't think I was going to. It was a unique and different take on Batman that actually worked perfectly the first season, well the second season, and not at all the third season. Yeah. So if you've seen Batman the Brave and the Bold, let us know in the comments. Did you see it when it originally aired or in reruns, or did you watch it like we did on Tubi? Tell us what you think of the series, the villains, the superheroes, and are you a fan of the Golden or Silver Age? Right. If you haven't seen it, again, it's available to watch for free on Tubi in its series entirety. Give it a watch. Come back and tell us what you think. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, videos for anime series, anime shows, and all things animation. Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us today. As always, you are our specials. I'm Rascal Entertainment. And I'm Mom Entertainment. Have a fantastic day. Peace.